What sort of car do you have? Is that an English car? What problems have you had with your car? A flat tire? A loose connection? A burnt-out headlight? A flat battery? Problems with your gearbox? A leaking radiator? Faulty windscreen wipers? Personally, I have no problems with my car. My car is fantastic.
I see you're looking at cars again, Victor.
Yes, I'd rather have a new car than an old one.
You said your car was fantastic, didn't you? And that you never had any problems.
You saw what happened to mine. A tow truck came and towed it away to be repaired.
Yes, I know. But you always have to get work done on old cars. And if you don't remember to have them checked regularly, they often break down.
I did remember to get mine checked before I went on holiday.
You were probably driving too fast, Victor.
No, I wasn't. Anyway, I'll have to look for a different car now. The repairs for mine will be too expensive.
You had better start earning more money, Victor, if you want to buy a new car. Why are you driving so fast, Victor?
I'm in a hurry.
If you don't stop driving like a maniac, you will have another accident.
I don't care. Oh, I must stop to buy some cigarettes.
Victor, where are you going?
I'm going to the country, to my uncle's farm,
What for?
to study for my exams.
Did you remember to bring all your notes and books for your studies?
Of course I did. I remember putting them all in the back of the car.
Can you hear that noise?
Yes, that's no problem. I had the car repaired just before I left.
You'd better have it checked now.
That's okay. I'll get it checked during my stay in the country.
As you wish. You seem very happy, Victor.
I always sing while I'm driving. Come hold me tight, kiss me my darling, be mine tonight. Tomorrow may be too late, but I'll never, I won't wait. How are you, my friends? Now, your job is to learn English, isn't it? Personally, I'm a student. That's not really a job, I know, but I will find a job when I speak good English. Have you ever thought of changing your job? What would you like to do instead of your present job?
Victor, have you thought yet about what you would like to do when your student days are over?
In spite of the fact that I'm a wonderful musician, I think I ought to enter a profession with a good salary and possibilities for promotion.
I see. What exactly are you thinking of?
I don't know. Maybe a banker.
A banker. I agree you have a lot of experience with banks. Nevertheless, I doubt that they will be very impressed with your past record.
I'll remind you that I'm a very competent and conscientious person, and I'm getting quite experienced with money matters.
I'll remind you that when you start working regularly, you will have to get up early every morning and get out of the house so that you get to work on time. You won't be able to sit around all day drinking coffee and reading the newspaper. Nobody else will do the work for you.
I'm used to working hard. When I'm by myself, I get a lot of work done, although you never notice.
Victor, take a look at yourself. A well-paid profession demands organization, a sense of responsibility, and self-motivation. Do you honestly think that you have these qualities? You ought to look for a job which is a bit more flexible and something interesting that you could really get into.
Maybe you're right. I'm a happy and cheerful person. I have a great sense of humor. Yes, I could see myself being a
comedian, of course. Yes, Victor, we all enjoy laughing at you.
What a pleasure to come back to my uncle's farm. I used to spend all my summer holidays here when I was a child.
But you know, Victor, the life of a farmer is a hard life.
Ha! Didn't you hear what I said? I'm used to this life. When I was a young boy, we used to start the day with a big breakfast of hot milk and lots of toast and butter.
And then what did you do?
I remember we used to have a big lunch with all the family, and Grandpa always used to drink too much, and he never remembered to milk the cows in the evenings, and my uncle used to remind him to do it. Ah, the good old days. That reminds me, Grandpa is here today, but he must be getting old. Anyway, I tell you, I'm used to the farmer's life. It's no problem for me. What's the time?
No problem. Wake up, Victor, and get up. Get up. Stand up. Get down. Stand up. Get down. Stand up. Good, Victor. You'll get strong. Victor, Superman.
Get out.
Are you getting angry, Victor?
Yes, sir.
Don't talk to me like that if you want to get on with me. Now, do as I say. Go outside and get on the tractor.
Get out. Get out!
Now, get off the tractor. Go to the nearest telephone. Call your uncle.
Look, I'll get by. Hello, how are you? I suppose you're in your living room at the moment. How many bedrooms have you got? And have you a separate dining room? Or do you eat in the kitchen? Or in the living room? When did you move into your present home? I have a nice home, but I have some problems with my neighbours. They say I make too much noise singing in my bath at 2 o'clock in the morning. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. Wow, this is a great party.
For goodness sake, Victor, turn the music down. I can't stand listening to it any longer.
Hey, we're trying to have a party here. I love dancing and singing. Are you trying to spoil our fun?
The noise can be heard by all the neighbors, Victor. Have some consideration.
They have been told about the party tonight. They've even been invited.
I see. What are you having a party for?
It's a going away party.
Are you going somewhere, Victor?
Yes, I'm hoping to go on a long holiday to allow myself to rest and relax after my exams. Hey, look! I've been given some fantastic presents. A painting for the bedroom, a lamp and plants for the living room, cushions for the armchair.
You're very lucky, Victor. Your friends are very understanding. You do intend to thank them, don't you?
This party is to thank them. Can't you see? We're having a wonderful time.
I can see that you're enjoying yourself, Victor.
I've had enough
But
of
are you
this.
sure that your friends are enjoying themselves?
I've had enough of this.
I can't bear it any longer.
I'm off.
Where do you usually spend your summer holiday? On the beach? In the mountains? In the country? At home? Working? Or preparing your exams? How many days or weeks of vacation do you get per year? Do you take all of your holidays at the same time? Or do you split them up during a year? For example, 2 weeks in winter and 2 weeks in summer. Or 1 week at Christmas, another week at Easter, and 2 in summer. Do you like to travel, or do you prefer to stay at home?
Victor? Victor!
Yes, What? What is it?
If I were you, I wouldn't sleep in the sun on the first day of my holidays. You'll get sunburned.
Sunburned? Never. I'm used to the sun. I used to go to Spain every summer when I was a boy. I never get sunburned.
Victor, what's the matter with you?
Sunstroke. My skin is all burned. It hurts. Next year I'll go to the mountains for my holidays.
Have you recovered from your sunstroke, Victor?
Yes, thank you. I'm a lot better now.
I suppose you've postponed your holidays until next year now.
No, not at all. I still have several weeks, and I intend to go away somewhere else, but not somewhere hot this time.
I happen to know a man who owns a mansion house in Scotland. It's within easy reach of Loch Ness and happens to be within walking distance of the pub. You could consider going there.
Scotland? The weather happens to be cold and wet most of the time in Scotland.
The best place for you, Victor.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Have you got this man's phone number by any chance? I could get in touch with him.
Allow me to organize your holiday, Victor. So, you found the mansion, Victor?
Yes. Fortunately, I happened to meet a farmer who showed me the way. I must say it's very quiet and a little bit lonely.
Exactly, Victor. Imagine the peace, the fresh air. You'll go home feeling fit and healthy and relaxed. You haven't happened to see the monster of the lake yet, have you?
The what? Are you suggesting?
Don't panic, Victor. However, strange noises have been heard recently. I do advise you not to wander the lonely paths alone in the dark. You're not afraid of it coming to get you, Victor? What on earth are you doing, Victor, this time?
I'm sightseeing. Did you know that the Celts built this, and that to this day no one can say for sure what it was used for?
Yes, I heard it was used by Druids in their long grey capes. Supposedly, they sacrificed humans on these very stones.
You don't say.
Well, be careful. I've also heard they haunt this area at night.
Right then, I've had enough. I'm leaving.
That will be difficult, Victor. The tour bus just left. You'll have to stay here for the night, together with your new friends.
Well, I'm not afraid of anybody. Besides, I'm learning karate, so beware.
later, Victor. Don't sleep too deeply tonight.
I think I'm going to faint.
Victor, what were you wearing yesterday?
I was wearing a long green pullover, a pair of loose-fitting red shorts, scruffy brown shoes, and underneath...
Okay, Victor, no need to go any further. You should do something about the way you dress, Victor. People judge others from the way they dress, you know.
Personally, I think I dress smartly. The day before yesterday, for example, I wore a pair of loose yellow bell-bottoms and a white shirt splattered with paint because I was painting. How do you dress? Do you wear a suit for work? Or do you dress like me, as an artist?
Hello, Victor. What are you doing?
I'm painting a picture.
What's it of? It looks like a bunch of colors to me.
My, you certainly are ignorant about art. This is a bird flying over a field and noticing an earthworm sunbathing on the ground.
Since when do earthworms sunbathe, Victor?
That's beside the point. This painting has a visual message. It means people shouldn't sunbathe because it's not good for them, as illustrated by the bird which is about to eat the worm. Birds are to worms what the sun is to us. Dangerous. What's more, who's to say worms don't sunbathe? Do you like paintings? Do you like painting? Do you sunbathe?
I see you're drinking tea, Victor.
Yes. Did you know that the British drink 5 cups of tea a day on average?
No, I didn't. But thanks to you, I do now. Victor, how many cups do you drink?
I've drunk 2 so far. I haven't quite got used to it yet.
How much sugar do you put in each cup, Victor?
About 5 lumps. I'm not used to drinking tea without a lot of sugar.
Victor, would you perhaps like some more tea with your sugar? You're not supposed to put in that much.
Well, at least I'm making an effort to adapt to British culture. Do you drink tea? How much sugar do you put in your teacup? Are you used to drinking 5 cups of tea a day? I've just helped the owner of the small bakery down the street extinguish the fire in her kitchen. It was a small fire, luckily. Thanks to me, all is well now.
Shouldn't you have called the fire brigade instead? They're used to that sort of thing, you know.
Well, I wasn't taking any chances. Remember the Great Fire of 1666, which started in Pudding Lane and destroyed 2/3 of London?
Yes, Victor, but the houses then were made of wood.
That's just a detail. And as you know, I'm used to dangerous situations. Have you ever put out a fire? Have you ever had a fire in your house?
I see you're doing some serious reading, Victor. You should slow down.
I've just finished reading about giraffes. Did you know that the London Zoo was founded at Regent's Park in 1826 and that the first giraffes startled pedestrians? I can just imagine people taking off, hungry giraffes chasing after them.
Hold on, Victor. You do realize giraffes aren't carnivores, don't you?
Well, nowadays they aren't. But in 1826 they must have been. You know, evolution and that sort of thing.
No, Victor, it's been a long time since giraffes last evolved. But if you don't believe me, why don't you ring up the zoo to ask?
Well, I won't. I'm pretty sure of myself.
Oh, I give up. You really are stubborn, Victor.
Stubbornness is a virtue, my friend. Do you like giraffes? Do you find them scary? What other animals do you like? Lions, monkeys, koalas, zebras, kangaroos?
Didn't you cook dinner tonight, Victor?
No, I tried to make some soup, but while making it, I decided to ring up a friend. Well, I started chatting away until it got dark. That's when I decided to check up on the soup. Unfortunately, it was so dark, I banged my head against the kitchen door. I tell you, it knocked me out cold, it did.
Go on, Victor. What about the soup?
Soup? Ah, yes. When I came to, I switched on the kitchen light, and there was no soup. It had boiled over.
Well, hurry up and finish your fish and chips, Victor, before they get cold.
Yes, master. Do you usually cook dinner? Have you had any disasters while cooking like me? Do you like fish and chips?
Hold on, Victor. Where are you going?
I'm going to give a speech at Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, where apparently orators defend certain causes and beliefs to listening crowds.
That's interesting, Victor. Go on. Are you used to speaking to crowds?
I've spoken to crowds on several occasions. Last year, for example, when I caused a traffic jam in Bond Street and had to excuse myself to angry drivers. Yes, I remember...
Yes, well, that's not exactly the same thing. What will you talk about today?
Oh, any old thing. See you later. I've really got to take off now.
Take care. I'd look out if I were you. Welcome back. You must have been a great success, Victor.
Actually, I was. While others were talking about politics, the monarchy, and the dangers of deforestation, I spoke about my goldfish called Happy. The crowd loved it. They carried on laughing from beginning to end.
Yes, and they even threw their lunch at you.
Well, the point is they listened to me. I'd better calm down now. Success can give me such headaches, you know.
Well, good for you, Victor. Carry on giving speeches then. Don't give up now.
Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always
Stop
be true.
that terrible
So
racket, Victor.
please
I can't even tell
love
what
me
you're
do.
singing.
It's obvious. It's the Beatles.
Well, you obviously haven't sung since you were a child. If ever you did.
Wrong. I sang for 2 years in a church choir.
Well, you certainly didn't sing Beatles songs.
Did you know that when girls heard the Beatles sing Love Me Do, they would faint? It was a #1 hit for weeks. I plan to go to a karaoke night tonight and sing the same song. Girls haven't fainted at my feet for... let me see.
For a very, very long time, right, Victor? You actually mean to say that girls haven't fainted upon hearing that song since the Beatles last sang it together, years ago?
Well, they certainly will faint tonight. Do you sing? What kind of music do you like? Do you like singing in public or in the shower like me?
What's the matter, Victor? I haven't seen you looking this frightened since last week when we watched that horror movie on television.
Well, to tell the truth, I'm afraid of heights. This is just terrible.
You should have thought of that before going upstairs. Why don't you just go downstairs?
I can't move. I've been up here since this morning, for 3 hours to be exact. I'm afraid I'll have to stay on this bus for the rest of my life.
Victor, don't worry. I'll call the fire brigade.
Fire? Fire? Where? Help! I'm trapped!
No, Victor, calm yourself. I'll get a fireman to get you out of there.
Oh, please hurry! Are you afraid of heights? Do you freeze like me when you get scared, or do you run? Have you ever been on one of London's double-decker buses?
Doing some spring cleaning, I see, Victor.
Yes, my poor boat hasn't been cleaned since last summer. I haven't gone rowing for a year now. I plan to circumnavigate the world, just like Sir Francis Drake in 1580. Imagine the headlines. Victor, the great explorer, discovers new lands off the coast of Gibraltar.
There's a slight problem with that, Victor. First, you haven't rowed since May. And secondly, there's nothing left to discover, thanks to Sir Francis Drake and other great explorers.
It's true I haven't rowed for ages, but I've been going to the gym for 2 months now, and look at the result.
My, it's been years since I last saw such large muscles. But Victor, just remember, sharks have ruled the 7 seas for centuries.
Since when have I been afraid of a bunch of silly fish? Besides, I've taken precautions. I'm armed.
That's it. I've had it with you. Good luck.
Bye. I promise to bring you some sand from the exotic islands I discover.
Watch out, Victor.
What is it? I was just thinking of how peaceful the English countryside is, especially without you around.
Well, Victor, let me give you a word of advice then. Watch out for the bobbies.
I won't need to. I'm not afraid of wild animals.
Bobbies aren't wild animals, Victor. Bobbies is the nickname used to denote members of the police force.
You don't say. Why should they bother me, though?
Look at the road signs, Victor. You're driving on the wrong side of the road. This is England.
Oh dear. Do you have a driving license? If so, do you like driving? Have you ever driven on the wrong side of the road, like me?
Careful, Victor. It might bite. No, but seriously, did you know that ancient curses surround mummies?
Yes, I was just thinking of that. I suppose that's why the mummy is enclosed in a glass case, to keep out all the curses.
Not quite, Victor. It keeps out dirty hands.
Well, I certainly wasn't thinking of touching it. Just look at all that tattered cloth. It needs a new wardrobe. I'm sure it can afford it. Just look at all those semi-precious stones found in the tomb.
What would you suggest, Victor? A three-piece suit? A polka-dotted tie?
No, silly. Can't you see? The mummy is a woman. She needs a dress. Do you like museums? Do you visit museums in foreign countries? What type of museum interests you the most? Natural history museums? Aviation museums?
Lost, Victor? You should ask that ice cream seller next to you for directions.
Thank you, but I don't need directions. I was intending to visit the Tower of London, built by William the Conqueror between 1078 and 1098. You know, that medieval fortress.
So what are you waiting for, Victor?
Well, to tell the truth, I've changed my mind. After all, old crumbling buildings such as that need repairing. Even I'm having my apartment renovated.
Well now, Victor, I'm sure the British authorities have it inspected quite often.
Perhaps, but I'm not taking any chances. I was sitting on a park bench the other day next to two fair-haired young women, and I overheard them speaking of the tower. Now, according to superstition, ravens have lived in it for 900 years, and if they were ever to leave, the tower would collapse.
Are you superstitious by any chance, Victor?
Not until recently. Some time ago, while I was riding my bike, a big black cat crossed my path, and the very next moment, as I was watching a beautiful red-headed girl cross the street, I collided with a cherry tree.
Bad luck, Victor. Did you have your bike repaired?
No, it didn't need any repairing. It was my head that needed repairing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to take you on a visit to the Palace of Versailles. This magnificent palace was built in the 17th and 18th centuries by a succession of French kings, from Louis XIII to Louis XVI. Construction was begun in 1624 by Louis XIII, but the main part of the palace was built by Louis XIV.
Yes, Victor. The Sun King.
You knew him?
Naturally. He was a good friend.
Anyway, the palace was completed by Louis XVI and his wife, Queen Marie Antoinette, before they were executed in 1793. The Palace of Versailles is constantly being renovated and maintained by the French government.
What about the gardens?
Patience, my friend.
My friend.
The gardens of Versailles were conceived and built by the greatest garden architects of the day. This is a photograph of one of the most beautiful bedrooms in the palace. Let us enter.
What? Who is that?
It's only Victor and some friends.
Yeah!
Hello, Victor. I see you're used to daydreaming in the afternoons.
Yes. Well, I've had an extraordinary experience which needs thinking over.
What happened this time?
Yesterday, I went to Buckingham Palace to witness the changing of the guard, as the British call it. And guess who I saw?
Let me guess. The guards?
Yes, but that's not all. I thought about the strange hats the guards had to wear and how uncomfortable they must be and whether they're able to see at all. You know, I've thought about it and I'm sure they have some sort of control device in their hats telling them where to stop next. After all, they walk in such a funny way.
Victor, will you please get to the point? I haven't got all day.
Okay. Anyway, I noticed that the Queen was in residence because the flag was flying. And suddenly, there she was, walking towards me through the crowd.
Really?
The strangest thing is that she was alone, and the people around us didn't pay her any attention.
Victor, you've mistaken another elderly woman with a hat for the Queen. I know you, Victor. You're used to exaggerating things.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way about me, but I assure you I have perfect vision, and one can hardly mistake the Queen.
Did she talk to you?
No, she just smiled at me and went off with a very old lady.
Victor, that must have been the Queen Mother. Maybe next time they'll invite you to tea. Silence! Silence! Thank you. Most of you have not done a great amount of work during these 20 English lessons, have you?
No!
But there is a young man with us today who has shown courage and intelligence, patience and perseverance in his profound desire to learn the rudiments of the language of Shakespeare. Wake up! I am talking about extra special thanks to the technicians, about Victor. He willingly endured the oppressive heat of the Sahara Desert. It was with inimitable perseverance that he braved the icy cold of the Swiss Alps.
Wow!
Some of you might say that his ambition was excessive. I say that you cannot restrain the ambition of a young man who is in the process of discovering the English language. Defying the law of gravity, he crossed the immensity of the Atlantic Ocean on his way to New York
and fearlessly confronted the dangers of an unknown city. Some of you might say that lying is a bad and evil habit. I say that you cannot restrain the imagination of a serious student of the Queen's English. We even had the immense privilege of attending his first meeting with a charming and lovely girl. Please, gentlemen, a minimum of dignity. Some of you might say that his performance on that occasion was less than glorious. I say that where ladies are concerned, self-control is a very British quality. Need I remind you of Victor reminiscing about life at his uncle's farm, when his uncle used to remind his grandfather to remember to milk the cows? Do you remember?
What did he say?
I didn't understand a word.
What was that?
Do you remember Versailles?
Versailles, the gardens, the palace.
Some of you might say,
Silence! 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 Anyway, in honor of our old friend, let us sing a song for Victor.